Bad Moms Christmas is directed by John Lucas and Scott Moore, as well as starring Mila Kunis, Kristen Bell, Kathryn Hahn and Jay Hernandez. So this year we've got Daddy's Home 2, which has the grandfathers, and now we have the grandmothers. With Bad Moms 2, we have the mothers dropping in unexpectedly over 3 underappreciated and overburdened mums rebel against their challenges and expectations of the Super Bowl for mothers, which is, of course, Christmas time. I wasn't expecting to watch this movie. I wasn't going to. I haven't seen the first one. I just kind of went for it because I like to try every film that comes out, and this was exactly what I thought it was going to be. First off, I will say all the performances in this film are decent enough for what they need to be. I mean, considering the products that they had to work with here, including the script, which was shodding, given what they had to work with, I will say the actors did a decent enough job, especially when some of them, like Mila Kunis, who is actually proven herself to be a really great comedic actress in the Ted films and also in Friends with Benefits, which was a movie I actually quite enjoyed. This was not her greatest role, and it's the same could be said for all of them. However, this is a comedy film, and is it funny? Not remotely. There's one scene I laughed in involving this therapist, and that was one line that actually made me laugh, and one character. That was it. The rest of the film is boring, not funny, uninteresting, and all those elements being culminated together inside of a comedy film is just a recipe for disaster, and that's exactly what this film is. The best way I can describe A Bad Moms Christmas is as a disaster. A Bad Moms Christmas does the thing that a lot of R-rated comedies do these days, where they think, okay, we've got an R rating, we can go super raunchy and we can go full on with this, but you can be raunchy and you can be edgy without crossing the line. We don't need jokes about male genitalia every 5 seconds to show that you're an R-rated film. It's just not necessary. It always feels forced, it's always cringy, and it always makes it seem like you're trying too hard to be funny. Compare that to another film that came out this year, like The Big Sick. That film worked so well because it was so natural. Speaking of The Big Sick, the reason that movie worked, like I said, was because the comedy was so natural, and even though that was also a 15/R-rated film, it didn't rely on all of these R-rated raunchy jokes to bring out the best in its comedy. It was so natural. This movie doesn't have that natural flair to it. It's constantly trying so hard to make the audience laugh that it's painfully obvious and it's cringy, especially when every other word in a conversation in this film tends to be about male genitalia. It's just not funny. And all of the characters in this film, they just seem so inhumane, like especially when you look at Christine Baranski's character, and Christine Baranski is a great actress, I really like her, and she is good enough in this film, but her character is just so unnatural and she goes through such a weird character change that it feels unnatural for her character to go through that arc. And though it has a good message behind it, just like most Christmas films, it just didn't feel like it worked in the context of the film and of her character. And like I said at the start of the video, the script in this is horrendous, it is awful, the jokes are terrible, they are not funny, and the actors do the best with what they are given, but considering what they are given is this script, it does bog them down and also the film down along with them. And even though the actors do save it to some degree from falling to a complete shambles, it still can't help the fact that the script is so terrible that it makes the characters feel terrible as well. I do kind of enjoy the vibe of this movie though. Obviously, I mean, it is a Christmas film. We are getting to that time where the Christmas films are starting to come out now. And obviously, if you like Christmas movies, then obviously this may be somewhat down your street, maybe. Depends on what kind of, depends what you're into. I personally didn't like the overall context of the film, but like I said, the vibe and the Christmas edge to it did have that little bit of magic to it that made you settle in just that little bit more and made you feel a little bit more warm to it. On the whole, I'd say A Bad Moms Christmas was a good enough time depending on what you're looking for. If you like the first one, I'm sure you'll like this one. I mean, like I said, I've never seen the first one, but if you liked it, I'm sure you'll like this. It's probably just more of the same. Or if you like these sort of comedies, if you enjoyed movies like Girls Trip, or if you enjoyed movies like Rough Night, you'll have a great time with this. So, yeah, depending on what you're into, what you like, I'm sure you'll enjoy this. And if you want a good Christmas film this year, maybe wait on it. I'm going to give A Bad Moms Christmas a D-.